Hi there. Today we're going to be learning about partial sums addition. This is something that you've already done in second grade with two-digit numbers. And today we're going to review that, but we're also going to do partial sums with three-digit numbers. The materials you will need for this lesson are your whiteboard, your marker, and your stock eraser. Our goals for our lesson are that you'll be able to add and use estimates to check your sums, that you can share estimation and addition strategies, and that you can review and practice partial sums addition to add three-digit numbers. So let's get started and let's get those brains thinking with our math message. And today, for each problem, you're just going to round or use a close but easier number to make an estimate of what you think the exact would be. The first one would be 44 plus 77. So if you could estimate what each one of those would be and then figure out the estimate, the sum would be, then you can write it on your whiteboard and we will go over it. So let's take a look at 44. 44, when I estimate it, would be really close to 40. That is the closest 10 that it is near on a number line. So 44 I would estimate to 40. And 77 is closest to 80. It's only 3 away from 80 on the number line. And so I would estimate it would be 40 plus 80. And if I add 40 plus 80, that would be like 4 tens plus 8 tens, which would be 12 tens or 120. Let's do the next one. You're going to estimate 58 plus 96. I will give you 30 seconds to complete this problem. Remember, you're just finding the estimate. Use your whiteboard and marker. So 58, what 10 is it closest to? Well, it's only 2 away from 60. So I would round 58 to 60. And 96, what 10 is that closest to? Well, actually, it's closest to 10 tens, which would be 100. It's only 4 away from 100. And so 60 plus 100 is what my estimate would be. And 60 plus 100 is 160. Now, using estimation is really going to help you with the next thing we're going to do, which is using partial sums to solve addition problems. And we're going to start with two-digit numbers. So write 56 plus 78 on your whiteboard and estimate what you think the sum is. Because when we estimate, it helps us figure out whether our actual exact answer is reasonable and makes sense. I'll give you 30 seconds. So when I look at 56, the nearest 10 would be 60. It's only 4 away. And 78 is only 2 away from 80. So that would make it 60 plus 80. With that being said, 6 tens plus 8 tens is 14 tens or 140. Now, remember, that's your estimate. So let's actually solve the problem. What do I know about 56? Well, it's 50. 50 is 5 tens and 6 ones. And 78 is 7 tens or 70 and 8 ones. So now I'm going to create my partial sums, and I'm going to start by adding my 10s. So it'd be 50 plus 70. And if I add 50 or 5 tens plus 70, which is 7 tens, I'm going to get 12 tens, which is 120. And I'm going to pull this over here so you can see. And then I'm going to add my ones, and I have 6 ones plus 8 ones. And 6 plus 8 is a basic fact, which is 14. And so now I have my partial sum of 120, my partial sum of 14, and I'm going to add 120 plus 14 together. And 120 plus 14, bring my 100 down. I have 100. I have 2 tens plus 1 10, which would be 20 plus 10 is 30. And then 0 ones plus 4 ones is 4. And so now I add 100 plus 30 plus 4, and I get 134. Now take a look at your exact answer and the actual estimate of 140. It's only 6 away. Remember that when you look at your estimate and your actual exact answer, they should be close so that you know your answer is reasonable. All right, let's take a look at using the same strategy, partial sums, with 3-digit numbers. I have a problem here, 145 plus 322. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to estimate, again, 145 and 322. I will give you a few seconds, about 30 seconds, to do that on your whiteboard. Okay, so when I have 145, I'm going to look at that and I'm going to estimate that that is really close to either 140, the nearest 10, or 150 because they're only 5 away from either of them are 5 away from 145. So either would be fine. And 322 to the nearest 10 would be 320. And so I'm going to add them together. I could start with 140 plus 320. When I add my hundreds, I get 400. 40 plus 20 is 60. So it'll be 460. Or I can add my 100 plus 300, which is 400. 50 plus 20, which is 70. So your answer, your reasonable answer, should be between 460 and 470. Now we're going to add the numbers. Just like I did before with my 2-digit number, for this I'm going to break 145 up. What do I know about 145? It's 100 plus 40 plus 5. And then 322, I'm going to break that up to 300 plus 20 plus 2. Now I have my hundreds, my tens, and my ones. They're all my partial sums that I'm going to use those to make my partial sums. I have 100 plus 300 is 400. 40 or 4 tens plus 20, 2 tens would be 60 or 6 tens. And then 5 plus 2 is 7. Now I have a partial sum of 400, 60, and 7. So now I will add 400 plus 60 plus 7. This is 467. Let's take a look at our estimate. Our estimates were either 460 or 470. 467 falls right pretty much between those two numbers. And so our answer is absolutely reasonable. The other thing, real quick, that I want to talk about is when we break these numbers up, we're using what we call expanded form, which is something that Mrs. Carroll talked to you before about. Now, remember, if you're not sure, you can always go back and go through and watch this video again to help you understand. Now that you are finished, we're going to go to our Google form, which is found on Google Classroom. Follow the instructions and follow the instructions on our Math Workshop Activities page. If you need help, Mrs. Carroll will be around, or I'll see you at the teacher table.